Hi, I'm Fred Burton with Stratfor. Laura, in response to your question about my background before Stratfor, I was a former U.S. counterterrorism agent, in essence a special agent with the State Department. And before that, I was a police officer outside of Washington, D.C. I was actually one of the first 3 U.S. counterterrorism special agents, and in essence, we had responsibility for the entire globe. I had specific responsibility for the Middle East, which in essence was every terrorist organization operating out of the Middle East during the 1980s and the 1990s. Our job was to investigate acts of terrorism as they occurred overseas, primarily focusing on attacks against the U.S. embassies, consulates, diplomats. In essence, though, because the terrorist groups were involved in a range of different kinds of attacks, from assassinations to hijackings to kidnappings, this took me into a whole different world when it came to looking at these organizations, and quite frankly, one that I was probably at the time ill-prepared to deal with. I went right out of being a police officer into a special agent job and assigned to the counterterrorism world immediately. So there was a very deep learning curve on my part to try to study groups such as Hezbollah, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the Black September Organization, Red Army faction, Italian Red Brigades, Japanese Red Army, and so forth. In essence, I worked those kinds of cases involving assassinations and kidnappings. For example, part of my duties were to look for the hostages held in Lebanon during the 1980s and early 1990s, and then be responsible for debriefing those hostages whenever we got them out of their captivity. So it was a fascinating job. I feel very, very fortunate to have been involved in that time period, and I talk about that at length in my memoir, which was published by Random House, called Ghost: Confessions of a Counterterrorism Agent.